It's like it was almost like I could see 2 or 3 moves ahead that they couldn't see, and as a result, I just knew I could play forever and beat them. So I think once you get very good and very comfortable with GTO concepts, you start to see where they're missing stuff. So like, say for example, they've got a low probe, or say they've got a probe and they don't follow through on rivers. What is that? First off, that's a weakness, but it doesn't always. You don't always know how to exploit that. So I remember when I was first playing 1Ks, I had some real difficulties with some really shit regs. I was like, I know he's shit. I know he's really shit, but I had to sit down, pen and paper, talk with friends, just go over. Okay, he's really shit, but it's only a strategy's only bad if it gets exploited. So then I had to go over like all the exploitative strategies to how can I change my ranges? How do I capitalize on this guy being shit?
Yeah.
Because there's loads of stuff like, say someone's got a high C bet, for example. A high C bet's absolutely fine if you don't, if your opponent doesn't exploit you as a result.
Exactly.
If they don't increase their probe. So I always thought about where opponents are weak, and then how I could capitalize on that. And then I'd always identify. I think I was trying to Nick about this actually, where the style matchups that go on. There's complete and utter style matchups where someone might be a good player, they might be highly respected, but for whatever reason, the way you play your game, you just cause them a lot of problems, and you get good results on them, and you feel it. You get that feeling where I feel good against this person. When you find them, just get loads and loads of volume in with them. So like, just kind of sample everyone because you don't know who those people are. And then when you do get guys you feel comfortable with, and on the inverse, you'll have guys who cause you problems. I had a guy called IK Secret at 1Ks. For whatever reason, he was my Achilles heel in terms of results I got against him. And it wasn't like I did respect his game. I thought he was one of the top players. But for whatever reason, he just had that little kind of edge on me in terms of how we approach stuff. And then there's other players who I thought were better than him, and I just felt I had one up on them. So you feel it out and then get a list of the regs you feel comfortable with. And then ones who you don't feel comfortable with, use them to learn from. So go, why is this guy causing me problems? What is it about his game? And then use that for your study.
Awesome, yeah. Totally. I've been like I said, that skier program has been making it easier to spot those areas real quick. And I've been noticing like, okay, well he's weak here, but then when I check my own frequencies, it's like I'm not exploiting him in that area, so he's getting away with it. So really, it's just like me stopping myself from
100%.
Yeah, exactly. So
and the thing is, like, this is what, like, I was so obsessed with this. My approach was I had my HUD on the screen at all times, not at all times, but I kept refreshing my own HUD. So I would see exactly what they would see in game at the time they could see it. And I was thinking, okay, what sample size did most people use? I was having like a recent sample size, and I was playing on this what the frequencies they could see. So for example, sometimes I get a hot run of cards, and then I would be like, I'm like a maniac. All my stats are like through the roof. So my opponents are now like not giving me much respect. So now I'm like, oh shit, I look like a maniac. I best ease down on bluffings in this scenario. But yeah, basically the self-awareness of how your game is playing. So when you see a weakness, like you've got to make sure you are exploiting that. So it's really good that you're doing this and looking, okay, he's making that mistake. Did I exploit it? No. So I used to do that all the time. So my first port of call was like, okay, he's solid here, solid here, solid here. Oh, that looks out of balance. What can I do about that? And then I'd look at my HUD and go, holy shit, I didn't mean doing nothing there. He's getting away with that.
Exactly.
And then you play the game. It's this constant back and forth, because just because you spot something, it doesn't mean your game naturally is able to exploit it. It takes a lot of time, like literally thousands of games, to get that right, to be able to spot where's wrong and change your game in play and your frequency to come out where you want it in order to exploit it. So it just takes time.
Yeah, because I got the program and then I started using it, and then when I started playing some sessions, like even though I've spotted it, I haven't been executing the game plan perfectly yet. And now that I'm getting more sessions, like I can feel like, oh, okay, I'm feeling the adjustments I'm making are actually providing some results, and it's feeling better.
Yeah. Good.
But it does take time, right? So
100%. Like literally, it's almost funny, but when I first started shooting 1Ks, I wasn't very good, and I was kind of hold my own, but then I got better, and I dropped like 30 buy-ins or something to regs at 1Ks, and I just I knew like I was getting better quickly, but basically you just need that adaptive process. So I knew my opponents had weaknesses, and I knew my game wasn't quite there, and I knew I had to figure stuff out. But the whole playing regs over and over, you need that kind of training. So I just treat my first 1,000 games as a training block, where I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get better. I'm getting better over time. So I wasn't too worried about what my results were from yesterday, because I knew today I want to be better, and the day after I'm going to be better. Exactly. And I was really obsessed with like trying to spot these weaknesses that we just mentioned, and then getting my stats to correlate with what I want them to. And that took so long. That took way longer than I wanted it to. I was like, why can't you just increase this frequency, Adam? It's not because you've got like 40 variables to be controlling. It's
Yeah.
sometimes you let things slack, and then your opponent may exploit you
Exactly.
somewhere. So you've got to get this solid nature of your own game. So you're pretty hard to exploit, and then once you're pretty solid everywhere, then you can just go, right, he's weak there, I'm gonna exploit that and exploit that. So it takes time, is what I'm getting at. It's be patient with it, and the people who do well and exceed in poker and able to reach the high stakes have that patience. Some guys get lucky and they just hit a home run every time they try something, and fair enough, that's the gifted guys. That wasn't me. I hit roadblocks every time I tried something new, moved up stakes. I always got crushed for a bit, but I
Yeah.
knew that was gonna spur me on to study harder, and I was gonna get better. So I didn't need to worry
Exactly.
about, yes, for you, I almost like draw a line on the pre-scare software phase. Just draw a line on it. That's
Yeah.
done. That was a trainer block. You learned that. You need to up your game. Now from there, and even then, I wouldn't even look back too much on overall results. Just start thinking every day, I want to be
Yeah.
better, and you'll be improving at like a rapid rate relative to everyone who you're playing. And as a result, if you're somewhat even right now, you'll just go, your edge will just increase, increase, increase.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
so just keep confidence and keep patience. Just believe in the process of getting better, and you'll just separate yourself from the guys you're playing very quickly.
Yeah, and then like also like reading this book, it's just like make me realize like I give too many like fucks about all this
Yeah,
nonsensical stuff when the only thing that really matters is just like improving every day. Like
exactly,
nothing else
exactly.
really matters at all, and it's just like caring whether or not he's gonna offer me games is like
Yeah,
a waste of energy, waste of
exactly.
time. It's just like
This is what I was trying to tell you as well, because you were like, "Oh, Gift is not chasing, he's dodging me and stuff." I'm like, "This is what they do. That's on them. All your job is to show
yeah,
up, play whoever's there, and then study." The thing is, it is frustrating, especially say Gifted shit. You've done loads of
yeah,
work on him. You're ready to crush him. You've got up early, time to go, and then he just fucks you over. You're like, "Oh my god!" It's easy to feel like the victim, but in reality,
yeah,
it's like, okay. That's him doing him. He's trying to preserve for himself. He's got his own things going on.
yeah,
He's just trying to look at. I'm trying to look after myself. I can't expect him to do me favors and arrange games for me because
yeah,
I'm gonna crush him. So then you go back to, okay, well, what's my job? My job is to get better, to make sure everyone I'm playing, I'm getting edge on them. So,
yeah,
oh, Gifted quit. That's unfortunate. I would have got some good edge there. Oh well, time to do some study. I've got so much to go through. This is great. Give myself an opportunity to get some more study time in.
exactly,
So always look for the positives. Yeah.
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 But other than that, like, there's nothing really new except for just improving the game, like trying to
Yeah.
constantly. And it's hard to, I would say, put like long-term study sessions. So I try to like
Mm-hmm.
study for a bit, then take a break, and then try to study a bit. Like
Mm-hmm.
lots of like smaller breaks and
Yeah.
like starting and going rather than just like doing one long session. Like one long session,
Mm-hmm.
like I just forget what I've started in the beginning. Like it's hard
Yeah.
to get all what you need.
Mm-hmm.
So.
So how do you approach studying? What are your things you're working on at the moment? Are you working on
Uh,
your own game? Are you working on exploitative strategies?
Like right now, when I wake up, I usually like look over like, okay, what do I need to improve in my own strategy?
Mm-hmm.
And then like I play some fish games, and then when it comes to the afternoon time, like I have like lunch or whatever, and then I looked at, make sure I start like preparing for different types of opponents that could show up. And
Mm-hmm.
then if they show up, they show up, and if they don't, then I put in another session and I'm playing, and then that's pretty much what I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
And so where do you think you can make the biggest improvements in the moment? Where do you think where do you direct your study time at the moment? What's the biggest sort of, is it your own game, your own weaknesses that you think you get exploited, or is it certain opponents that you're really digging into their strategies to get a bit more
Well,
exploitative with them?
lately when I got it, I was just like really preparing on like my opponents because what I did before Scare was kind of doesn't really mean anything when you have all the concrete numbers. So I just really
Yeah.
getting a game plan down so that when they do come up, I'm able to like pull up my notes, like have
Mhm.
like notes ready because the
Mhm.
ones I have are kind of shit, to be honest.
Yeah.
So like really just like upping my notes so that when they come on, like the game plan's already there. I'll have to look at what my notes
Yeah.
say, and then I just execute it, and then
Yeah.
that's it. And then other than that, I like go through all the pre-flop, post-flop errors that I do just in my general strategy, and make sure that I'm exploit or making sure that I'm doing the things that they're weak in, like
Yeah,
focusing
yeah.
on those areas.
Yeah. So do you know what your HUD should look like in terms of how you want it to look against that opponent? Because what I would do is I would have a strategy in line against an opponent. I'm like, right, this is where he's weak. This is where I'm going at him. I want
Yeah.
this to do this, and then I'd look after the session and go, did my HUD reflect what I wanted to by the numbers? Because numbers don't lie. So it's like, did I follow through on the strategy? So do you do?
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
aware of what
I'm
you should
kind
do?
of yeah, I'm kind of doing that now, but obviously I have to keep doing it more often
Yeah,
trying to do it consistently. But
yeah,
I haven't really played that many matches since I got it, and
yeah,
whatever matches I have done, I've kind of done that. I would.
yeah. I said the more time you do that, the better. So I got literally obsessed with looking at hoods, and I could probably look at two hoods and tell you who was going to win a heads-up battle just based on the numbers.
Okay.
Obviously, there's slight tweaks and ranges, and people can be deceptive, but overall, and I could play someone and think I was doing really well against them, and then if I could spend like 5-10 minutes looking at all the numbers, I could see where I fucked up. I could see where I fucked up and like where they got me. So it's a game of, especially with bigger samples, you can see like it's pure. You can see who's deviating and what exploitative strategies are coming from that. So yeah, I think self-awareness is so key. So obviously, it's very easy as a player to get obsessed with your opponent and where he's bad. But on the flip side, you've got to remember he's doing exactly the same to you. He's doing exactly the same to you. You need to make sure that he's not getting you in loads of spots as well.
Exactly.
So like for me, like I especially playing the high stakes, because the high stakes guys are pretty good and they're like trying to go at you everywhere. So you can't have leaks in your own game. So it's very good to know over and over what your stats are coming out at. How does it look? Like what does it look like to them? What's my image? What they going at? Where could they be getting me? And the more I did that, the more I realized, oh shit, I am kind of missing stuff. Like they are kind of getting me there. Or I'd question stuff, going, oh maybe that strategy to exploit him wasn't good because then he's just getting me back in this spot. And then I'm creating this kind of variable I'm not sure on. So I think about it loads, like self-awareness of what your game looks like. That's kind of the hardest part to do because you're used to looking at their stats and going, he's shit there.
Yeah.
But it's harder. You don't realize on the flip side, he's doing that to your game.
Yeah, like what are they doing to you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just get. I spent a lot of time in it, so I got so confident that what they were doing to me, I was like, oh, what he's doing there, that's fine because I've got this covered with this part of my range.
Exactly. You have a plan for everything.
Yeah, and then once you've got a plan for everything, then you can start to plan pieces ahead. So I used to always like, basically, I think I always viewed in levels as a kind of levels to the thought processes, and I would throw out little testers to see if my opponent knew a certain concept. Like what he should be doing with a certain part of his range, how he should protect a certain part of his range when I started doing certain stuff. So I'd throw stuff out there, and if he didn't bite on it, or he didn't like show the adaptive response, I knew I could get him there over and over and over and over because he didn't know how to respond.
Okay. I see.
Like there's loads of stuff that, for example, like a big one I used to like a big edge spot is if someone doesn't check raise turns enough. They don't check raise turns enough, that changes everything from the in position player to the point where you can just barrel all equity, and then just like give up on rivers. So I had a guy who like didn't check his turns like 5% on the turn, and I played around with like on the nodes thing and like the game trees and what happens to the strategy of the whole game changes completely when they don't check raise the turn. So all of a sudden the GTO response now is to barrel like crazy, thin draws, value everything, and then stop on rivers. So I was like barreling flush draws against these opponents, straight draws, missing, and then checking it down. Like with nothing, like no showdown, and they'd be like, "What the fuck?" But they had all their traps in there. And so then once they saw that, they saw me didn't fire the river with a missed straight draw, because basically their range on the river was now stronger because some value didn't check raise. So I played around with enough to be confident not to fire. And then as soon as they saw that, I was like, okay, now they're gonna have to check raise the turn for value. They have to check raise value on the turn because and they still did it. I was like, oh my god, like in that when you spot something like that, it's like fucking insane edge, like in terms of where EV can be made from each position strategy. And yeah, so stuff like that, I would test stuff out, and I'd throw little testers out there and see if they were aware of what they should be doing as a response. Okay. And yeah, some people are just weak in certain spots, like they don't probe and barrel enough, they don't check call, check probe the river, they don't fire that little, they just don't do enough, or they do it too much. And like, so I'm always trying to like look for, because generally there's not many players, especially at 60s, no one's going to have their whole shit together. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. So I'm just like, okay, there's going to be something letting up somewhere, so I'm just going to find it, and I'm going to see if I can exploit this a lot. Because if you're not aware of where I'm exploiting you, I can just get you over and over and over and over. If you're somewhat aware, I need to exploit you like in moderation, so you don't like kind of make an adaptive response. But in general, I'm just looking for like the big edge spots to exploit them.
Okay, yeah, because I think that was going to be my next question. Is like, well, if you know you can exploit them in that area, like, how much can I really push it before they actually do something about it?
Yeah.
But what you're saying is like sometimes they don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So that's like they're kind of a rare examples like that turn one, for example. But a lot of the time, like, you just want to exploit them a bit, and that's good. Like, you don't want to go crazy. You never want your like hood stats to go mental. For example, say they fall to probe
Yeah.
60%. You don't want your
Exactly.
probe to go like 90. Just to like, you just want to make sure you're doing it with the best part of your range. So if you think someone's weak somewhere, for example, you want to get through good bluffs, like bluffs that gain loads of equity by doing
Yeah.
it. But it's generally always moderation, unless you're kind of so far ahead of them, you realize they just don't know a certain strategy.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, I see the leaks. It's like,
Hmm.
but I'm still not executing right. But
Hmm.
like, it's only gonna take time. Like, there's nothing
It's gonna take
really.
time.
Yeah, there's nothing real. There's no way around it, really.
Yeah, and that's why it's just games, games, games. Every session you're playing, it's just training. It's just training for yourself. It's training like on the strategy, all the stuff you've learned. So every time I learned something, like when I studied, I was just keen to see if I could transition and what I've learned into my game. And most times I couldn't, not in one go. But if I did it over and over, all of a sudden I say, oh yeah, now my frequency's starting to get up. Oh yes, now I'm starting to exploit
Hmm.
that sort of tendency that I was trying to exploit for ages before. And you're slowly starting to do it. So each session, especially when you're shot taking, write down session goals, write down 3 things that you're going to focus on increasing, so increasing, decreasing, whatever. 3 strategies that you're going to be working on. 3 things. So I always did that to remind myself over and over the simple things, because you think you've learned it, but you haven't. It's not part of you haven't learned it until you've implemented it into your game like consistently. Until you've done that, it's kind of fluffy. It's in the air, and as soon as you're under pressure, as soon as you're on a downswing, as soon as things are going wrong, all these things that you were learning are gone. Like, they just don't
Yeah,
come to mind.
exactly.
So you need to take the time to get them into your game. Have 2 or 3 sessions where it's something good you learned from a strategy point of view. You used it in your game, and once you've used it 2 or 3 times, think, oh yes, I am using that. Perfect. Until then, keep writing it down before you start. Make sure to use this size in. Make sure to exploit this, and just over and over. And it's almost like it almost seems silly and like repetitive, but like it triggers you to just keep thinking about it. And you can't take for granted how hard it is to go from studying to getting into your game. So make sure you have a process for that.
Okay. Yeah, and it's like I want to improve massively, but I have to like be happy with just like improving a little bit every day and
Yeah,
knowing that it's gonna add up to one big thing. Because
yeah.
it's
So
like
that's the thing. Yeah,
frustrating. Like I want to go from like, not crushing to crushing like right
yeah,
now.
yeah. And you will, but it's slow. But like, yes, basically, you always seek perfection. And as a poker player, we want to be perfect. We want no mistakes, perfect stats, crushing everyone. That's what we seek, and that's why we end up being good players, because we aim for that standard. But that standard's almost unattainable. But by the quest to try and get better over and over, all of a sudden you end up making incremental improvements. It's always small, 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 small. Occasionally you'll have a big breakthrough when you find a leak that you had, and you're like, oh my god, that's going to make a big difference. Or you'll find opponents that you match up incredibly well with, and then you've worked on the exploitative strategy against this type. You're like, oh my
Hmm.
god, I know exactly what to do against this guy. Then all of a sudden you have a big increase in performance, but generally it's really incremental. But because you're doing it every day, this 1% improvement every day over the course of like 2-3 months, you're like a
Yeah.
different animal by the end of it. And yeah, just be aware you've got to kind of go through this training process, and there's no like kind of quick way to the finish line, but just learn to enjoy it. Learn to enjoy getting better, the slow and steady, rather than going for the quick win and the quick crush.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. I don't know what else to
Yeah,
say.
good, good. No,
Um,
I think it's good. I think you've come through a dark patch, and now you're ready to tackle it again with a different sort of approach. I think if Nick shoots as well, that'd be great for you. I think because you two chat a lot anyway. I think that
yeah.
would be spot on in terms of, because it's so good. Like, chatting normally, you learn a lot, but when you chat about specific opponents and
Hmm.
like how they're playing their range, you can get really good like ideas together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that'd be super good for you. But yeah, it looks like I've got
Yeah, I think
confidence that you're gonna do good.
me and Nick, I feel like we complement each other. Like the areas that he's like, I guess needs help in. Like I'm like super confident. Like just putting in volume, battling. Like I love that shit. I don't know why.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know why.
yeah,
It's just something in me is just super competitive.
yeah,
And the areas that I'm weak in, like studying and stuff, he just loves that. I don't know. He eats that up for days, and
yeah,
yeah, so we can learn from each other, really.
yeah. Definitely, definitely. No, I think it'd be good. Hopefully that happens soon. I'll give you another push.
No,
So
I
yeah,
mean they gave him the green light to go, and
okay.
he's just saying like, "Oh, I'm scared." And it's like, "Oh man, come on, Nick, let's do
Yeah,
this."
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'll have a word with him. He'll be. Hey, I spoke to him 2 days ago, and we had this conversation. And it was like, you know, you need to shoot. Let's go. And he's like, yeah, yeah. I'm just waiting for the all clear. So he's got it now. But he
Yeah,
was a bit scared. Yeah, I think it's normal though. I think it's a normal. Some people are more like I'm
I'm scared too,
quite.
man. But
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's only scary when you're thinking about it. Like when I did a skydive, it was terrifying thinking about jumping out of a plane. But
yeah,
as soon as you jump out, it's fine. Same like shooting at a higher level. As soon as you start playing, like 100 games, you're like, oh, it's just another game, another
yeah.
buy-in.
Just take it one game at a time, really.
One game at a time, exactly. One day at a time, one game at a time. All
All
right,
right.
good stuff. Well, it looks like you're in a good place. So let me know if you need me for anything, and just keep bashing away.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam. Sorry about that
All right,
earlier.
no worries. It's all good. I was at the computer anyway. All right, speak soon.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.